Hey everyone, it's Jim Hogan, and in this video we're going to talk about fixtures. Stay tuned. So what's a fixture? Well, a fixture is an item which was once personal property but has been permanently attached to real property and therefore is real estate, but still retains certain characteristics of personal property and could be mistaken for personal property. So that ceiling fan there as an example, is it real or personal property? How about satellite dishes? How about the chandelier in the dining room? Or how about the solar panels on the roof? Or even big screen TVs, real property or personal property? Well, the general rule is that the parties can convert the real property to personal property if they choose. So this concept of conversion means the change in character from real to personal or personal to real. So in that slide you see this big old redwood tree being cut down. Well, that tree of course is real property. Once it's cut down, it's been converted to personal property. Then that log is sawn into lumber, still personal property, but then that lumber might be used to build a building. Therefore, that personal property has been converted to real property. But we would never mistake the walls or the ceiling of the building to be personal property. But items that we looked at earlier, chandeliers, ceiling fans, could be considered to be, by some people, personal property. So when it comes to fixtures, the parties can always agree to convert that real property to personal. For example, if a seller wants to take the chandelier with them, that seller can make sure that it's in the contract that the chandelier is not included. And in most instances, the seller is smart to actually take the chandelier down before the property is put on the market and replace it with a suitable light fixture. Question becomes, though, what happens if the parties never agree? Well, then the courts will ask a question, if it ever went to court. What was the intent of the annexor? What was the intent of the person who attached it? Was it to make it real estate or personal property? And they don't use ESP and try to think about what was in their mind at the time they attached it. What they do is they ask two more questions. First question is, was it permanently attached? And the second question, would it cause damage if removed? So let's take that chandelier. Permanently attached? Yes, it's hardwired into the ceiling and it provides light to the room, which may be an essential feature in that room. Will it cause damage if removed? Well, some people will say, well, you can put a plate over that so it won't cause any damage, but in reality it does cause damage. There's a hole in the ceiling and there's some wires dangling free. So the intent is determined by asking two questions, permanently attached and damage if removed. One of the things you should realize is cost of the item is not important. So that $5,000 chandelier versus the $1 switch plate cover doesn't have anything to do with whether it is a fixture or not. So cost is not important. Now what you have to realize is that in the real world of real estate, this issue with fixtures is a common problem. So as a practicing real estate agent, if you're taking a listing and the seller, you would need to ask the seller whether or not certain items are staying or going. And if the seller says, well, that chandelier or the ceiling fan, we're removing it, then the best advice is to suggest to the seller to take it down and replace it with a suitable fixture. In that way, the buyer is going to see what they get. You know, there's another issue here just with personal property that I mentioned. Sometimes items like refrigerators, washers, and dryers are included. So let's take it that the contract calls for the refrigerator to stay, but you don't outline or detail which refrigerator it is, and the buyer sees this beautiful Sub-Zero double-door $10,000 refrigerator, and all the purchase contract says is refrigerator included. And then the buyer moves in, and there's the old avocado green beer fridge that was in the garage. So anytime you want to make sure you detail not just what items are going to remain, or might not be included, but you also want to ask yourself and detail what personal property is included and make sure you identify it. One last thing relating to fixtures, and that question is, are manufactured homes real or personal property? Well, the answer is that a manufactured home is personal property until the titles are given up and an affidavit of a fixture is recorded. This affidavit of a fixture here in Arizona is the document that makes manufactured homes real property. And it doesn't mean that the property has to be affixed to the real estate in any way, shape, or form. Like the county or city regulations will require how it actually is physically affixed. But legally, once the affidavit of a fixture is recorded and the titles are given up, that manufactured home is now part of the real estate and is taxed as real estate. Also, lenders will always require that if someone has a manufactured home on a property, on a piece of property that they own, that if they want to get a loan on that property, the affidavit of a fixture has to be recorded. That way the mortgage is secured with both the land and the manufactured home. So that's an affidavit of a fixture. So that's our discussion on fixtures. Thanks for watching, and I hope you subscribe to our channel. By doing so, you'll be able to get updates on all future videos that we post. We'll see you in the next video.